Hi, this is Cheryl with another movement exploration. This is one that's related to if you've got a history of knee injury or bad knees and find it difficult to do a lot of walking and stairs, but you're faced with going on a trip that will require you to do that very thing. Here's a couple movement practices that I think are really helpful to keep your pelvis area loosened up. Often when we have pain in an area like our knees, we can tighten up areas close to that as a way to protect them. And it actually kind of creates, a worse problem in terms of overusing your knees because you're underusing other parts of your body, like your pelvis. So this is a great movement activity to do, before you get up in the morning. And also I would say after you've had a day of being out and moving and sightseeing, so that you can keep your pelvis, your hip area a little more mobile and give your knees a little bit of a break. So it looks a little bit like this, coming onto your back and looking at two ways to really work with your pelvis. So the first is just a basic rocking. And you're doing this by pushing into your feet, rolling over the back of your pelvis, and then reversing that movement. So what you're not doing with this is tightening your abs in order to create that rock, or tightening your low back. You're just pushing through your feet, rolling your pelvis, and then letting that go. And so doing this at a slower speed, I call it the speed of sensation, so that you can feel what you're doing, feel what's happening, and also feel like when it's a good time to stop, when you're doing it long enough, and then going back the other way. So that's one. The other is what I call windshield wiper legs. And I want to show a two-parter with this. So the first is you're going to keep your pelvis relatively still and simply let your legs go with gravity to one side or the other. And so your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to find out how you can release your legs and when your pelvis really starts moving with them. So this is designed to help you just lubricate your hip joints, to allow some movement with all the stabilizing muscles, but in a nice, gentle, sort of going with gravity, again, going at the speed of sensation, so you can feel this range of motion and let this gentle movement just soften and open up this area. But then part two to this is to do windshield wiper legs so that your pelvis moves. And so again, you're going to let your legs fall, but have more of a following of your pelvis. And again, listening for yourself in having your legs fall. When is a good time to stop? When do you feel a kind of gentle stretch above your pelvis into your low back? Keep it gentle, keep it, soft in terms of letting your legs fall with gravity. And just notice where this feels good as you do the movement, and keep your pelvis sort of mobile. And you'll notice in doing this, your knees are pretty neutral. There's not that much being asked of them except the initial bend position to stand your legs. And then I'm going to show you a little bit about how to bring this movement into action when walking with hiking poles. So when you're walking with sore knees and a lot of tightness, bearing down with your weights, with your hips, one issue becomes when you walk, you tend to keep everything rigid, right? So that you're not moving your hips really as you walk. And so particularly if you've got walking poles, really helpful to start to use this kind of movement of your pelvis to actually help your knees out in moving you forward. So a good rule of thumb is as you step forward, you're wanting to turn your hips a little bit towards that knee so that you can just bring your lower leg forward. It's a much softer way to walk and lets your knee just do the simple job of folding and unfolding in pulling you forward. So turning towards your foot, turning to walk, and that gives you a softer environment for your knees to do the job that they do need to do. And so they're not taking on both stabilizing and mobility work because you're keeping your hip and your pelvis area rigid. Let's apply this to stairs. So if we apply this kind of use of our pelvis to walk up and down stairs, you know, we're overriding a habit that tells us we kind of have to get a leg up to a stair and haul ourselves up. And so I'm just going to show you the contrast in doing stairs with a rigid pelvis and doing stairs with a pelvis that moves. So with a rigid pelvis, we bring our leg up, and then from here, if we don't move anything, we have to haul everything up. And so that's hard on the knee that's stabilizing. It's hard on the knee that pushes. It relies a lot on pure strength. And so a way to make that easier is to use this simple movement. So you can put your hiking sticks wherever is comfortable, but turning towards this knee. And as you're lifting your leg up, you're lifting with a sense of almost like there's a marionette string, so that you can just lift your knee and lower your knee without it being a heavy weighted thing. So you're turning towards your knee, stepping, and then you're just unfolding your knee to come up. So if we do it to the other side, kind of that marionette leg, I turn towards it, and then stepping up on the stairs. The same thing happens when we go down the stairs. You do have to do a deeper knee bend to make that happen. So lifting your marionette leg and then releasing it down. But it's a much more skeletal way of walking. It's a more skeletal way of lifting and moving your leg. And it's really facilitated by having this mobility, this movement with your pelvis, so that you can walk more easily up the stairs and not create a big kind of punishing movement for your knees to haul you up with each step. So hopefully this is helpful for you with if you've got a history of bad knees and are facing walking, climbing stairs, say on a trip, helps you to enjoy your trip and have less knee pain. Take good care. Have a good movement day.